All right, got both semifinals correct. Here's my predictions for the final, and I'm also going to give you my Premier League picks. All right, we're into the final, world final. Really exciting matchup. It'll be Michael Smith against Peter Wright. I'll give those predictions first thing, and then I'm going to give you my Premier League thoughts and who I think should be in the tournament. Probably going to be different than some other people. I think there's your must-haves, and then I think there's things that you have to freshen it up a little bit and not see the same names over and over again. Again, kind of dependent on how the final goes today, because you're forced to take the top four, but we'll get into that in just a sec. First of all, the semifinals, Smith against Wade. Called it right down the middle, 6-3. It ended up 6-3. Said James Wade's going to take a set on some ridiculous out, and he did. A 121 out to win the set. At the end of the day, Michael Smith's a better player than James Wade, and it's by a long shot. And James Wade played great. That average that James Wade was 10 points above his average for the rest of the tournament. But he's just not as good as Michael Smith. He's just not as good. On his day, he might beat him, but Michael Smith can't be playing his A game. The only way Wade's going to beat Michael Smith is if Michael Smith's not playing, or he's missing doubles, or he's doing whatever it might be. And he got into a couple situations there where it got a little bit testy. I think if Wade gets that fourth set, we're looking at a whole different game. But again, I like the way Michael Smith played. He lost that third set on the 1-2-1 to go down, to be up 2-1. It's Wade's throw. You're thinking, oh boy, here's the start of the waiting. And that's what Wade did. He waited all game. Yeah, I mean, he took out some fantastic outs. He's all over the outs. That's what I say about Wade. He's a fantastic darts player. If you could take his personality and exchange it for someone like Ryan Searle or John Henderson or Max Hopp, or someone who understands that there's a selling of the game that has to occur. Dirk Van Dijvenbode, just come on, boom, 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 boom. He'd be fantastic. People would love to watch him play. Unfortunately, he's got the personality of an ant, and he doesn't understand that the game needs to be marketed. He doesn't understand that there's fans that pay. He doesn't understand that the money comes from those fans that pay. And then when you do interviews after a game and you come off like a complaining, and I've heard all the mental health stuff. That's fine. If he's got mental health issues, don't interview him until he's ready to be interviewed. You can tell it's like he doesn't want to be there. He looks exactly like that when he plays darts. He does not want to be there. So as a fan, why do I want to watch a guy who does not want to be there? That's what he comes off as. That's what his interviews come off as. I apologize. I like watching him play, but I don't like him as a person. And I don't think he cares, really. At the end of the day, I don't think he does. But we'll get into Premier League predictions. I don't think you want him in the Premier League. I guarantee if you ask Sky Sports and PDC management, do you want James Wade in the Premier League, your biggest exhibition of how to sell the darts game, they do not want him there. It's just a fact. Anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. The next matchup. Jeez. Just when you think it can't get any better. You get Peter Wright against Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson plays his best darts of the tournament. Peter Wright breaks the record for 180s. You nearly have a 9-darter. You have a comeback. What else do you want? This is craziness. I believe Gary Anderson would have won this if it went to a 11th set, because I felt Peter Wright was getting tired. A lot of darts are straying into the 5. Again, the guy still hits 180s for fun, but he was missing some darts into that 5. He was getting a little bit lazy on that throw. And I guess after he talked about he had a knee injury and it was starting to flare, Gary Anderson just looked like the more... and again, this is where you just get into... I mean, Peter Wright came out a ball of fire. A ball of fire. And Anderson just knows. I'm going to come out and hit a ball of... He didn't panic. He didn't see him go, oh, shrug his shoulders, off we go. Didn't see that with Wade either. I'll give Wade credit. Didn't see it. These guys are professionals. They know it. I still have a chance. And Anderson just kept coming back. Just when you thought Wright got him, made it 4-2. Boom, 4-3. But this is where you see Wright. Wright could have caved in too, because Anderson was coming on. He's like, no, I just got to stay out ahead. I got to stay out ahead. Just a great game. And it ended up being the big, 3-set lead. That's what got him over the hump. So, when he just had the 2-set lead all the way through. So he just kept him at bay, and fantastic matchup. That's quality darts there. That is what you pay for. Did anyone not like that game? Did anyone think, well, that was a crappy game? No, that's a beautiful game of darts. 104 and a 103 average. Give me a break. This is over 11 sets. Give me a break. That is fantastic. And I think we're going to see the same in the final. So we get in the final, Michael Smith, Peter Wright. One thing to keep in mind here, Peter Wright's record has never lost to Michael Smith on TV in an elimination game. Never lost. He's had losses in the Premier League. He's had losses, I believe. Well, I know he's in the European League, or Gibraltar, I believe he got beat. He just has his number on TV. If we take a look at this year, he beat him 16-7 in the World Match Play, where he was playing very similar darts to what he played yesterday. He beat him 16-12 in the Grand Slam after Michael Smith had a 12-8 lead. He came out and blitzed him, and Michael Smith didn't react well to it. But Michael Smith, let's think of what he's done. He's exercised his demons. Johnny Clayton had a better record against him. Boom, beats him. Gerwin Price had a better record against him. Boom, beats him. James Wade owned Michael Smith. Boom, beats him. He's now got Peter Wright. Now, at the beginning of the tournament, I had a Peter Wright Gerwin Price final. I actually had Michael Smith losing out in the last 16 to Johnny Clayton, which nearly happened, by the way. Just craziness. And Hart says Michael Smith. I'd love to see Michael Smith pin that. And just think about the legitimacy that gives him. He's now won a final. He's now in that top 4. Now we're not talking about the top 3. We're talking about the top 4. If he gets, I just don't want to see him have a chance at a match dart and miss it. I don't want to see that, because that could damage him. He's been damaged 7 times. The last time he played Peter Wright in a final, he missed the match dart at the Masters, and Peter Wright cleaned it up. I think you're going to see Peter Wright come out in the exact same clothes he wore against the Masters, just to get that psychological. He had a white shirt or something. He'll wear the white shirt. He'll just psychologically bash him. Hey, remember this? You missed your darts against it. Or he'll wear whatever he wore in the Grand Slam or the. He does that. He did that against Michael van Gerwen in the match play. He wore the purple out, which beat him in the World Championship. He's going to psychologically try to hit him. Can Michael Smith? Can he's going to get blitzed. There's going to be sets of 120. Each one of them is going to blitz a set. It's going to be a close matchup. I picked Peter Wright at the beginning to win this. I'm going to pick Peter Wright to win this, and I'm going to bet on that. I think Peter Wright's going to win. I'm going to pick 7-5. Again, I do not want to see Michael Smith miss him. If he gets to a match dart, I want Michael Smith to pin that match dart. My heart says Michael Smith. My brain says Peter Wright, and of course, then I also want to look good at the beginning of the tournament. Who did I pick to win? Peter Wright. So Peter Wright. And by the way, let's get the Michael van Gerwen thing out of the way. So let's say Michael van Gerwen makes the quarterfinals. Does he beat Peter Wright at a 104 average? Sorry, it's Peter Wright. Who's the best darts player this year? You can argue Johnny Clayton. I'm sorry, it's Peter Wright. He's won 2 majors. To Johnny's 1. He's, well, you can, I guess maybe 2 for Johnny if you include the Premier League, but ranking majors and World Championship now final. He's also won the Players Championship finals. He's won 3 majors. My apologies. Yes, Johnny Clayton's won more, maybe even. Now he doesn't. He's won how much more money. Johnny Clayton certainly has had a fantastic year, but Peter Wright's your dart player of the year this year. And if he finishes it off with a victory in the World Championship, that would then put him 16,000 or 15,000 behind to get the number 1. So early into 2022, he's got a chance to be the number 1 in the world, which I think has been what he's looking for. So again, we'll put some money on it. I'm going to put Peter Wright to win this one 7-5. Again, I wouldn't mind losing the money if Michael Smith wins it. My heart would like to see Michael Smith win it. I just think brain-wise, Peter Wright wins this. Now let's get into the Premier League picks. So I've got 2 picks. I've got if Peter Wright wins, and I've got if Michael Smith wins. And the reason why is part of the rules of the Premier League, you got to take your top 4. If Peter Wright wins, the top 4 is Price, Wright, MVG, and Wade. If Michael Smith wins, your top 4 this is incredible that Michael van Gerwen goes down to 4, but it would be Price, Wright, Smith, MVG. So in the one scenario, you don't take James Wade. In the other scenario, you have to take James Wade. So let's take a look at if Wright wins it, then you're taking Wade. So your top 4 are Wade. Your next one up is Johnny Clayton. You got to take Johnny Clayton. Premier League championship last year. Player of the year. Or second player of the year. He played awesome all year. You gotta take him. He's played fantastically. Johnny Clayton is definitely in there. I think Gary Anderson's in there. That's your sixth pick. What Gary Anderson's done in this World Championship final is what he does in every World Championship final. He's a marketable player. You're trying to sell the game. Keep that in mind when you're picking your Premier League. You're trying to sell the game. It's an exhibition to try to grow the game. It is not a ranked final. It is not, oh, let's make sure that we get PDC points on there. It has nothing to do with your ranking. It has to go every Thursday. You go to a new town, you sell it, you put on a good show when you get out of there. That's what the Premier League is. And Gary Anderson puts on a hell of a show. The next one up, Michael Smith. So in the 7th position, Michael Smith. He's done enough. This tournament alone just showcases what he can do. He didn't have the greatest year. He did win a world, or he did win a couple of the, or I think he just won one of the 4 tournaments. He got to a semifinal in the Grand Slam. He beat Michael van Gerwen in the Grand Slam. He's done enough in my eyes to get there. So I've got him in the 7th position. In the 8th position, I've got Rob Cross. Rob Cross won a European Championship. He won a major. He showed well. He came on at the end of the year. Yes, he was in the Premier League last year, and yes, he got kicked out of the Premier League on the bottom 2 drop out. But I think the way that he's come on this year, again, his match against Daryl Gurney was a barn burner. He can put on barn burners. I don't know if he's the greatest for selling the game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he is. He's not the big marketable player. If you would have talked to me last year, I don't think he should have been in the Premier League. He did get in. He lost out. But he's done enough this year, especially winning the major, to get in for the 8th position. So in the 9th position, I'm now looking at people that got into the finals. So, or finals of a major tournament. So if you take a look at Masters, you got King. UK Open, you got Luke Humphreys. Premier League, you've got Josie D'Souza. Match play, Dimitri Vandenberg. Grand Prix was Gerwin Price. Grand Slam darts, Peter Wright. So you're going to eliminate those 2. And then Ryan Searle in the Players' Championship. So you're looking at that group of players to get in. Again, and then you're looking at the marketability of them. Yeah, you can put Sherrick in there. I think Sherrick's in the mix. But after losing to Steve Beaton, I don't see how. None of these players I just named are losing to Steve Beaton in any tournament, anywhere. Maybe in a floor tournament, but not certainly on TV. So I don't think Sherrick's done enough. She would have beat Beaton, and she would have beat Hybrex. Yeah, she's in. But I get the marketability. If they put her in, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be a shock. I wouldn't go, oh my God, this is travesty. No, I wouldn't say that. You're trying to grow the game. How do you grow the game? You put a marketable young lady who can throw darts really well into the game. That's going to grow the game. That's what you want to do. Throwing a James Wade with the personality of an ant is not going to grow any game. That's why Sky Sports don't want him in there. I believe Sky Sports gets a pick, so they're going to be picking too. So it'll be interesting to see. So again, when I get in there, I've already got 8. So yeah, so on the 9th pick, I'm going to take Dimitri Vandenberg. First of all, he's he's in the top 9. I get what happened to him in the World Championship. He still averaged 100 and lost to Florian Hempel. He still averaged 100. He won tournaments this year, got to the match play final. He hits 180s, marketable guy, dances around the stage, is entertaining to watch. Dimitri Vandenberg gets the 9th spot. Now, the 10th spot, this is where I'm going with all those players. Humphreys, D'Souza, Ritz, Sherrick. And then I think you want new blood. You just want new blood. So I want to watch Josie D'Souza. Josie D'Souza, to me, unfortunately, was great at the beginning of the year. If you talked to me in July, who's in the Premier League, Josie D'Souza in the Premier League. He made the Premier League final. He miscounts. He's entertaining to watch. He hits 180s. But at the end of the year, he's reminding me of Durant. Go back to my video. He's reminding me of Durant. They took Durant last year. They took Aspinall last year because they made the final. They were the wrong decisions. They were not the best players at the time. And so Durant does have the marketable piece. Aspinall does the marketable piece. So you get past that. I don't know if Jose's got that marketable piece. Yes, he hits the 180s and he's funny to watch where he goes tops. And if he's got 150, he goes bull. Like, he does this kind of nonsense, which is fun to watch as a fan. So I can see why you want to put Josie D'Souza in there. Luke Humphreys, quick. So if you take Ritz, Searle, and Humphreys, you got quick, fast players, a lot of 180s, very similar, very entertaining to watch, good personalities on them, entertaining, check a lot of boxes. You got to pick one of those three. So I've already eliminated D'Souza from my list, and now I've got these last three. And again, I go back, okay, let's go to the Worlds. Humphreys and Wright got farthest in the Worlds. Searle didn't really have a great game against Wright, but he did fantastic before that. So Searle's mentioned, I don't know if I'm ready for it, but then I'm looking at the rankings. Searle's at, he's at 16. Humphreys at 19 and Ritz is at 30. Yeah, 30. So I don't know if you can go that way, you can go that low. So I'm going to take Searle as my last pick. So again, my picks, Gerwin Price, Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, James Wade, Gary Anderson, Johnny Clayton, Michael Smith, Dimitri Vandenberg, Rob Cross, and Ryan Searle. Now, if Michael Smith wins it, I am going to replace James Wade. James Wade will not be in it. I don't think he just won't be in it. I would take Wade out and I would put in Luke Humphreys in his place. Again, wouldn't be surprised if Sherrick gets in, but you want to put a little new blood. I think having a Ryan Searle and a Luke Humphreys. I remember they used to do this with like Stephen Bunting and Kim Hybrex, or they brought in Yelle Clausen. You want to bring in some new blood. If you take a look at, if they keep going with Dimitri Vandenberg and Josie D'Souza, right now the only difference between those would be what? Price being in because of, he should have been in last year, but COVID. And Michael Smith getting in, and you're just replacing Aspinall and Durant. That doesn't seem to me like new blood to me. So again, I would prefer that, they bring at least someone new into it, like a Searle, a Humphreys. If Searle's replaced with a Humphreys or with a Ritz or even a Sherrick, I think that's still fine. But I don't see how you can include D'Souza, and I don't see how you can include Wade if Smith wins. Those are my picks. Hope you enjoy. Hope everyone enjoys the darts. I'll come on and have a reaction after the final, and also have a reaction after the picks. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the full 10 Premier picks after. Last year they did 9 and they waited to the Masters. Maybe they're going to do something like that, but I'm assuming they're doing 10, and that's why I had that. So if they do announce the Premier picks, I'll also give you my reaction to them as well. Hope everyone enjoys the darts. Cheers, bye.